Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Tonight's topic, we fail to utilize the power of the brain. We fail to utilize the power of the brain. With all that being said, when we talk about the spirituality, the gifts are found in the New Testament and the book of Revelations. But when it comes to the brain is also a gift from God. But the brain can become very evil if one ingests evil. That's right. You see, when the brain deals with happiness, love, and positivity, individuals generally grow. Now, why do they grow? Because they don't allow themselves to be taken in with evils around them. In other words, they're not influenced by what is on television, music, or any type of entertainment, or even the biggest one I want to tell you about is conformity. Now, when it comes to negativity, a number of us don't grow because the brain doesn't react to negativity that well. It doesn't. And if you look at the society of the United States, you see a lot of negativity. You look at it in politics. Politics is very partisan. You have one side that doesn't like Donald Trump, and then you have the other side that likes Donald Trump. You had one side that didn't like Hillary Clinton, and you had one side that did like Hillary Clinton. But that being said, when it comes to any actions in your life, utilizing your mind, if you are negative, what do you need to do to help your brain grow? First order of business is not allowing yourself to be subjected to negative imagery. Again, we talk about television. We even talk about negative people around you, because I did a video a couple weeks ago entitled, "You're Judged by the Company You Keep." The brain is always going to respond to positive energy. That's part of the spirituality and healing and meditation. See, when your brain doesn't grow, you become depressed, stressed, and other items of negativity that keep your brain from growing are the foods we eat. A lot of these foods have a lot of bad chemicals. This is true. I'm not making this up. But let's move to something even deeper. What about identity? Now, this world is made up of different types of people. Now, I'm not going to name any specific races or cultures in this video, but one thing that I can tell you, there are some who did not conform and they died for what they believed in, and some who were conformed. And what happened when a group of people became conformed? Well, once the conformity took place, the identity was stripped. The conformity came in vast changes. Religion was one of them. Working for free is a second. And the third one is conformance. Now, the conformance is a big one because that conformance was threatened with fear. But even when the conformance took place, those same fears still came about. And if you come up here to the 21st century, you have a number of groups hating one another. This is where we get racist people. This is where we get people in their own races hating one another. Why? Because their minds have been corrupted with evil. Now, the way you change that is very simple. You must be your own person. See, when we talk about reality, reality is a perception. But if you want to be stronger than fear, because fear is always going to be around us, one must change your belief system. Because when you change your belief system and you don't allow the evils around you to influence your thinking, to dictate what you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be, then you become a person who is strong-minded. And you always want to be strong-minded. Because a person who's strong-minded has their identity. They don't let the everyday influences take over their lives. Let me give you case in point with education. Now, a number of us, including myself, have gone to college. Now, college was always told that if you graduate with a degree, you can get a job. But let's hold the phone for a moment with that. When you get a job, you have a college degree. Are you really educated? No, you're not. See, education means that you take a subject matter and you utilize that subject matter to build your knowledge. Where college, you take different subjects for a 12 to 16 week period, and it's in a curriculum that must be followed in order for one to get that paper as a major requirement to go work for somebody. Also, that degree, depending on what the subject matter is, may not be education, it may be indoctrination. And this is what I want to tell some of you young men and women who are going to college. If you want to maintain your identity, do not allow your professors to indoctrinate you with their brand of thinking. Once you do, you become one of these liberal snowflakes. And what happens after that, your mind is corrupted with this communist, socialist, and this left-wing ideology, and your whole persona is gone. Now, there's nothing wrong with listening, but your mind must be strong by alleviating all the propaganda and rhetoric that is thrown at you. And when you go to work, if you look at the workplace today, work isn't the same way it used to be. Work is now predicated on conforming instead of production. This is where you get the kissing ass syndrome from. It's because individuals, when they go into work, certainly you have to follow different policies because that's part of your job descriptions. However, you should never allow the workplace to dictate your life either. You shouldn't allow anything to dictate your life that's going to be harmful. This is why your mind is powerful. But in order for it to grow, you must have positivity, happiness. Now, I'm not saying everything is supposed to be intrinsic, but if you are positive with everything that is thrown at you that is considered evil, you could beat that evil and you won't become indoctrinated and your mind will be strong. See, the object when it comes to your mind is not allowing anyone to control your mind. You must be a good listener, because you may hear something that sounds good, but is it good? Again, changing your whole belief system is the key if you are in a negative zone. Because if you stay negative, this is when you're going to run into certain mental disorders as well. In fact, I do recall there was a lead singer, I believe his name was Chris. He sang with a group called Soundgarden. He was found dead in his hotel room after a concert last night. Chris Cornell. It's a group called Soundgarden. They were a grunge rock band out of Seattle, Washington. I remember they did a song in 1994 called Fell on Black Days. Well, he was found in his hotel room dead, and it was believed to be a suicide. Now, suicides do take place. But when that happens, that means your mind wasn't strong. Couldn't take the pressures that life was throwing at you. And if you look at religion, you had people like Jim Jones and David Koresh who thought they were God. Well, they got people to follow them because they knew how to speak well. Their message sounded good. But what they did, they influenced people with their own propaganda. Because the people who were being indoctrinated didn't have a strong mind. And at the end of the day, these people perished. And this is what happens when negativity is around you all the time. You are depressed. You have eating disorders, anxiety disorders. Those disorders lead to high blood pressure and heart disease. And after that, you could have substance abuse. It could be violent. Anger shows up. And looking at all that negativity, that means your mind has been corrupted by the evil around you. So, let me go over again what one has to do to maintain their self or their well-being. Be your own person. Have no fear. Because the old saying says, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Now, another thing that's happening, look at the government. The government is trying to enslave all of us. This is why during election time you hear politicians tell us what they're going to do when they never do it. But what they do, they use their power and influence to try to indoctrinate the masses with their belief system. It sounds exciting, but nothing ever happens. And if you just heard that example, the only thing that's ever going to change in your life is you. But you must utilize your mind in a positive sense. Have your own belief system, but make sure it's positive. Make sure it is realistic. It's working for you. Don't fall for the corruption, because the people who fall for the corruption, they don't evolve. The people who maintain positivity and they're spiritual, they continue to evolve. They grow. Now, some people might think I'm crazy for believing in the power of the mind, the power of spirituality, but it works. Having good spirituality and faith is very positive, but it's how you practice it, and it's what you want to do with it. And it has to be taken very, very seriously. And I take mind control very seriously because, again, once your mind is being controlled by other masses, you're not yourself. You have become something else. You're in a different world. Because the influence has sucked you in. But the easiest way to stay out of the influence is educate yourself. Read books on holistic healing, mind control, spirituality. You don't have to go to college for any of these courses. You go to your local library, because what's going to keep the influence away from you is reading. And once you read, you practice the principles. Now, don't believe everything you read. Make sure what you're reading has some worth behind it, has some good sources behind it. But education, real education, not indoctrination, is a key to building your own belief system. And once you build your own belief system, you no longer have to be in conformity. In fact, you become a nonconformist. And nonconformist people, for the most part, you might think of being a nonconformist as negative. It's not necessarily a negative unless you're using that nonconformity to cause havoc. For the most part, when I say nonconformity, I'm talking about not allowing the influences like the television, the music we listen to, sex being sold to you, communism, socialism, feminism. All those ideologies are there to destroy your mind. They sound good, but at the end of the day, they're toxic. So get into mind control and spirituality. I mean, if you look at what happened with the slaves, the identity was taken from African Americans who got here, and it's been passed down. In fact, we as African Americans, and I'm going to the African Americans now, we have been corrupted by hate from individuals who didn't care too much for us. You look at how our psyches have been destroyed, and this has been going on for quite a long time. And it's going to continue to go on because now we hate each other. Now, some of it is our fault, some of it isn't. But the bottom line, if we continue to educate ourselves, we can be better people. But it all starts in the mind. And in order to not be indoctrinated by the influences around us, get educated. Because you have God's gift, a brain. And if you don't use it wisely, you will be corrupted and you will not evolve. You'll go into depression. You'll have suicidal thoughts. You'll get eating disorders because you're not going to eat right. You're going to basically give up on life because you're being controlled. Because you don't know who you are. Because you let other powers take the power away from you. And other powers now control you. That's why you're stressed. But when you change your own belief system and not allow the powers to take the power away from you or control you or enslave you, you're going to evolve and you'll be less likely to have stress because you know who you are. And that is called self-worth. Self-perseverance. And once you have that, you have your identity. Because at the end of the day, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And it's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Thursday, May 18th, 2017. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. I'm going to be talking about narcissism. If you want to get in on the call, hit number 1 on the queue. Again, the guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now on this channel, I don't engage in debates, controversy, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. Why? Because it's counterproductive. And what I'm here to do on my channel is to give you information. And I lend it to you from research and my own experiences. Because the information is positive. Stimulates your mind. Helps your mind grow. And again, you have your identity if you have your mind. Create your own reality. Don't be a conformist. Be educated. Because knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to talk about on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering. If you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time. My name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other. And have a wonderful and blessed evening. Good night.